Yes.
All right, everybody, welcome. This is Alan Davidson. I'm here with the fabulous Denise Simpson. This is session number 4, day number 4 in our Resistance Breakthrough 7-day meditation challenge. And just a little reminder here, there you go, session number 4. Today we're going to focus on negativity. And I'm just going to take a couple of minutes and then we are going to dive in. And the question I want to ask you, this is day 4. Now, this is usually the point, day 3 and day 4 is the point when resistance, and it's, I was thinking this morning, it's like the multi-headed hydra that raises its head and knows exactly the strategy to trip up your commitment, to trip up your intention, to trip up the evolution of your soul and the achievement of the goals that you want. And so, the simple question is, our commitment for our 7-day challenge is to meditate twice a day for 20 minutes or more for 7 days. And the simple question, it's a yes or no question, did you meditate twice a day yesterday? And if you did, fantastic, fabulous. You get the benefits of meditating. And if you didn't meditate twice a day for whatever reason, fantastic, great. That's the whole point of our challenge. So be gentle with yourself and say, oh, this is the form of resistance that I took to trip me up on my commitment. I love the term, I had a slip in my fabulousness. I had a slip in my magnificence. I had a slip in my greatness. Because we're human beings. We all make commitments. We all have intentions. We all have desires. Our soul is constantly whispering to us our divine destiny. And we as human beings have a really good knack for delaying our destiny or even denying our destiny. And that's the point of the mystic's evolutionary journey, is can you find the skill to work with your resistances so that all the talents and the gifts and the strengths and the training and all the preparation, the getting ready for greatness. And Denise and I were just talking, most people spend their life getting ready to be ready. And the resistance is the part that keeps us stuck in the getting ready. So are you ready to not only meet your resistance head on and transform it, and not only transform it from an adversary that does its best to keep you playing small, to actually your resistance becoming an ally, all that tremendous energy that keeps you in that cocoon of safety and playing small and doubting yourself and sabotaging yourself. That all that energy that is dedicated to keeping you safe, when you skillfully start to work with resistance and transmute it, then you actually turn resistance into an ally. So instead of all that energy keep pulling you down and holding you back, all of a sudden, all that energy is wind beneath your wings. So that's the whole point of our challenge here. So if you didn't meditate twice yesterday, fantastic. The important thing is that you show up today and you recommit and you work with your resistance. And today we're working on negativity, which is a very broad category. But for me, it's particularly those voices of skepticism, pessimism, cynicism, what Brene Brown calls foreboding joy. It's like, oh, I can be optimistic and excited and hopeful, but then there's that part of me that is waiting for the other shoe to drop. It's the tension of the opposites between hope and hopelessness. And so that's what we're going to work on today. So thank you for being here. I'm so honored and privileged to be your guide and share with you the skills that I've learned and the understanding I have about working with resistance. Because every spiritual badass, every mystic badass has learned to work with resistance and committed to a set of rituals that will help them evolve. And then working with the resistance that keeps them from those regular rituals. And whatever they happen to be for you, your soul knows what rituals that you need to commit to for 7 days or 30 days or 6 months or a year. Your soul knows that. And deep down, you know that. And it's like, okay, can I make a commitment? And then can I skillfully work with the resistance that keeps me? And so whether those rituals are moving your body more, eating better or eating less, or, even for those, you need to eat more. Whether it's to meditate, whether it's to cultivate positive emotions or cultivate really positive relationships instead of investing in toxic relationships that drain your energy. Whether it's to do, a certain set of spiritual practices like Kundalini yoga or Tai Chi or Qigong or something like that. Whatever the rituals are for you, you know them. And so I really invite you to, look at what are the rituals that are going to move you forward. And 3 of the rituals that I use as a rule of thumb, in addition to, moving more and eating better and eating less, are daily meditation, daily gratitude, and, inspirational reading. Those are sort of the 3 non-negotiables for me. And then all the other things that I do on top of my day and my week are fantastic. They're gravy. So I'd like to hear from you in the chat. What are the rituals that you love and that you could do with more consistency, or that help move your soul's evolution? And Denise, I'd like to start with you, darling.
Yeah, so for me, tapping daily or as close to daily as I can get is really key. And I notice when I don't tap. And it can be as easy as tapping on my collarbone points while I'm waiting for my tea water to boil. Right? If I don't have a lot of time, just tap and it will raise my energy. Then I love the deep dive, listening to recordings and your replays and doing evolutionary mystic meditation. That's one. Spending some time outside is so crucial because I live in New Hampshire and New England, and we're coming into the winter months and the sunlight gets less. So I put up a swing this summer, and I've been taking swinging breaks, which gives me a chance to play a little and feel the wind against my skin. So on an energetic level, it's a wind cleansing. We can cleanse with, baths, Epsom salts, essential oils, but we can actually have a wind bath and blow away some of the stress and tension. Protein shakes, good food, nutrition, water, all of those are crucial. And then giving myself that time to sleep at night and having a nice sleep hygiene is really helpful as well. So those are my go-tos.
Right. Okay, great. And thinking in terms of a ritual, it's like, okay, making them making them specific and measurable in the world. So it's not just, I'm going to drink more water, but it's like, no, I'm going to drink 4 8-ounce glasses of filtered, water.
That's
or
right.
I'm going to have 3, zone meals and 2 snacks, so it's like, again, how can we take these rituals, but then we make them specific and measurable so that we have this sense of, yes, I completed these rituals that I committed to in my day. And so, it's, again, resistance is cunning. It's slippery. It's baffling, as we say in the 12-step program. And, we can call that the ego. We can call that your disease. You can call it resistance. You can call it, your slips and your fabulousness. It doesn't matter. So, so that's the key to saying, oh, I did my meditation. And normally I meditate an hour a day or so. That's usually my ritual. I do my meditations, my chanting, my visualization. I do my gratitude. I sort of do it all at one time, and that sort of priming. So doing this twice a day, it's like, wow, okay, that's a stretch for me, and I've been thrilled that I've done it. And I can hear all the little voices that are saying, "Oh, Big Al, it's okay." Even though you're leading the challenge, you're just so tired. Go to bed. I can hear all those whispers. So, all right, great. So I want to say a shout out to people who said hello. So we've got Jenna, who I know is in Iowa, and there's Kelly. And I think, Kelly, are you in Columbia, Missouri? Is that where you are? And we got Bernie Bowman, who is, I believe, still up in Canada. Are you in Mexico yet, Bernie? Fantastic. And we got Willa, who's here also from Canada. Fantastic. And some of the rituals that you've shared that you're committing to is Kelly started a Kundalini meditation in the spring and love it. Fantastic. And there's nothing like raising your energy and your vibration from the sacrum and moving up the spine to trigger resistance. So, girl, good on you. And you're in the right place. Willa says, walking in the bush, restorative yoga, gratitude, all things I could be more consistent with. Absolutely. Jenna loves the swing idea. I could feel the wind on my cheeks. Kelly says, yes, she is from Columbia, Missouri. So welcome, everybody. And Ty Moz loves the swing idea. And, one thing, hopefully you'll get to meet my friend Marion. She's like, one of my best sisters, and sometimes we trade sessions, and after it we'll go over here to Cherryhurst Park in the Montrose neighborhood, and we will get on the swings, and we let our inner childs and our spontaneity and our vulnerability and our innocence, our golden child, come out and play in the sunshine or even in the rain. Occasionally we've done it in the rain. So all right, so let's
love that.
Yeah, can't you see Marianne and I, she's 70 something and I'm 60 something, and we're out there like little kids, squealing on the swing. All right.
That's what keeps us young and alive.
Right. Okay. Well, let's turn our attention to, and we're going to turn to negativity, and it's really that part of us that, it's the skepticism, it's the pessimism, it's the cynicism, it's the, no matter what I do, it's not going to work. If I really did meditate, twice a day for 7 days, it's really not going to move the needle on my life. It's like, no matter what I do, it's not enough, or it's not going to really make a difference, or it's not going to really make a big difference in my life. So why bother? It's that form of negativity is the subtle edge of despair and helplessness and hopelessness. I want you to notice that, when I'm feeling a little negative about something, a little cynical about something, a little pessimistic about something, it's that edge of hopelessness, helplessness, even despair. And so the negativity is a way to keep me from feeling the intensity of that emotion in my body. And so what I love about particularly tapping is like when I notice that, when I set a goal, when I set a ritual, and that negativity comes up, that sense of, oh, why bother? It's, and it can be a fleeting thought, it can be a fleeting emotion, but it triggers a reaction and response that moves me away from meeting my goal. And so how many of you can relate to when negativity or the why bother syndrome shows up in your life, particularly when you have an invitation to do something that's going to move your soul's evolution, and that's going to move you into more visibility, to standing. I love the term stand your sacred ground. Stand your sacred ground with presence.
Mhm.
And, and another way to say that is to live bold or be bold. And that doesn't mean in a big electric explosive way, but it's just the boldness, the certainty that in this moment, I stand here, and I stand here with my whole body and my whole being. Yes. So Kelly says, yes, I definitely feel that lately. So today is working with negativity. And we're going to use, again, our commitment to meditate. And I saw Jenna said, yes, she meditated twice a day. Perfect. The question is, okay, great. Did you meditate with joy? Did you have that joy of, oh, I get to meditate twice a day. Lucky me. Wonderful me. Yeah. Okay. And Jenna says, yes, I especially feel that from others empathically. Absolutely. The world, the average state of humanity is dedicated to you playing small so that they can continue to play small. Yeah. Okay, great. All right. Well, somebody says Facebook user. I know that's not you now, Denise. So
Nope,
yeah,
not
great.
today.
But it says that showing up a lot because of the political situation. It's easy to despair. I read the paper every day and watch the 6 o'clock news because it's important, again, to notice what are my own triggers, what triggers my resistance to joy. Okay. All right. So let's get started. Everybody, we're going to move into center. Centering is the number one skill that I believe every spiritual badass and every mystic badass needs to take on to sense their body, center in their body, and center in their true power. So everyone, let's just take a breath together. And again, we're sensing the body. And we talk about the 5 senses, seeing and hearing. I know that you can probably see me on the video and you can hear my voice. There's tasting and smelling. I can still taste a little bit of my coffee and smell my essential oils of sandalwood and frankincense and cedarwood Himalayan. But we're focusing on the sensations of touch. And that's movement, or technically vibration. And then there's pressure. So just soft pressure, or a firm pressure. And then there's temperature. So today I can feel that warmth, that heat between my palms. And it's actually deliciously cool in Texas today. It's 68 degrees this morning. So I can feel the coolness on the back of my fingers and the tops of my thighs and knees. All right, and just take your thumbs and put them into your navel, and then let the palms come to the hara, the dantian, the second chakra, your center, your physical center, your gravitational center, your energetic center, your seat of power. And just a very quick Aikido centering exercise, leaning to one side, and then noticing how the ribs tend to yawn and stretch open. And then leaning to the other side. And again, sensing that side stretch, from the hip all the way through the ribs, even to the neck. And now recenter. And leaning forward and come back. And leaning back and recenter, recentering front and back. And now we're going to center up and down, tightening all the muscles in your feet, around the bones of your feet, your ankles, your shins, your thighs, your pelvic bowl, your belly, your diaphragm, your ribs, your arms, shoulders, wrist, fist, throat, jaws, eyes, scalp, squeezing, squeezing, squeezing in, sensing yourself completely off center. And when you're ready, dropping down and bring your palms back to the hara. Just take a breath. And just a quick little centering side to side, front and back, up and down. And I refer to this as the centered self, centered Alan, Alan centered in his power. And so I'd love to hear from you. Enter into the comments. What do you sense? What do you notice just in this place of center? And Denise, would you share with us?
Yeah, so I feel much more aligned in the shoulders. Before I felt like I was all kinked over and I couldn't even find my center before we did this. And now it's like, oh, there I am. And you might have also seen my cat Tucker. He loves the energy work. He was all over the place. He has settled down. He is now centered. So the more centered I am, he's centered. So, and I do feel the energy flow in the third eye and the head. And then I feel the core of my body. And I feel very present in my hips, my thighs, my seat. Calmer, more relaxed.
Yeah, great. So, just a couple things about this centering. And probably tomorrow I'm going to sort of do a little deeper dive into centering because it's so foundational and fundamental. And once you really start to practice it, it takes, we can take 5-10 minutes, to really unpack, sense, and center the body and to really center in the hara, that second chakra, and that seat of power. But once you really recognize the sensations of it, if you have this, you're notice that you're in your head and you're spinning, or there's a lot of emotion moving through your heart, and you're sort of your emotional state is disturbed, and you go, oh, I'm off center. You can just take 2 fingers like this and just bring it to the hara and touch it. And we've seen in Aikido and Tai Chi practice over and over that just doing this and you just remembering, oh, I have a center, and connecting physically and energetically with your center reconnects you to that place of power. And if I'm driving and I notice that I'm, obsessively thinking about something, I go, oh, let me off center, recenter. And I just do this, side to side, front and back, up and down. It's like, oh, okay, I'm back. So you can really do it in 30 seconds once you learn the practice. And then, once we center in our power in evolutionary mystic meditation, when we can access the qualities of the battle goddess of compassion and divine love, then we can recenter in our, divine love through our heart. And then we can recenter in the infinite stillness, the witness and the infinite stillness of our eternal mind. And then we can reconnect to that pillar of light at the spiritual level that connects us to heaven and earth, and even to that still point in the center of the center. So, there's some layers to the centering, but we always start with recentering in our power. So beautiful. So Kelly says, I'm feeling more sturdy and grounded. And Tracy, hey, Tracy. Now Tracy's got dogs, and I think you've got cats too, don't you, Tracy? Grounded, she's feeling grounded stillness. So beautiful, fantastic. All right, so from this center place, let's just say, everybody, I went off on a tangent once again, blah, 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 blah. There she goes, off and running, Okay, back to center. Okay, and so Denise, you're going to be our spokeswoman for the group. And so let me ask you, did you get to meditate twice yesterday?
I meditated on with the call yesterday with you, and I attempted meditation in the afternoon, and it was such a distracted, resistant experience. It was like part of me was like not having any of it. So it was, yeah. So I just kind of noticed the resistance and kept at it for a while, and it was what it was, but the resistance was there. So
Okay, great. So the question is, so you meditated for yesterday afternoon, and
yeah,
so did you make it the 20 minutes?
not not on my own, not independently.
Okay, great.
No.
Again, most of us, when we hear these questions, it's like, oh, there's the guilt or there's the shame. It's like, oh, yeah, and again, that's resistance. So, but again, it's like,
Mhm.
okay, so I want you to think back to yesterday when you were sitting there. Can you find that part of you that, was ready to give up? Oh, this is too hard. Oh, I can't do it. It's not going to make any difference. Those are all voices of negativity.
Yeah, it'll never work. Why bother? There's too much to do.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Um, yeah.
Okay,
So
great. Great. And so, everyone listening, can you find that part of you that, um, is singing that mantra of, oh, it's never going to be different, it's never going to make a difference, it's never going to work for me.
nothing will ever change. And how is this going to help?
Right, how's this really going to help? I can't even sit here still and quiet for 20 minutes.
Right.
Okay, great. Where are you sensing that part of you, that negativity in your body?
For me, it's in the belly, the low part of the solar plexus, like right between second and third, and then the heart too. It makes me sad, and then definitely it's the thoughts in the mind.
Right. So you're aware of there is a sensation in the belly, sort of
Yeah.
between the navel and the ribs and the diaphragm.
It's that sinking feeling in the belly. It's
A
like,
sinking
ugh.
feeling. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
got it. And then there's sadness in the heart.
There
And then
is.
there's the story, there's the thought, the thoughts that are spinning in the mind.
Yes, and I was very present to the thoughts spinning in the mind that weren't even allowing me to enjoy the swing for more than 5 or 7 minutes. It was like it was gorgeous out too.
Yeah.
It was like, nope, the pusher, like or whatever.
Right. And again, resistance is cunning and baffling and powerful, and it knows exactly what strings to pull to distract you
Mm.
from from your intention and from your attention.
Yeah,
So, and again, this is just information. All it is an inquiry. It's just information. You cannot change what you cannot measure.
I just had an awareness into that. I had not worked hard enough. I didn't deserve a break.
Uh,
And what pattern or program I have is I never work hard enough to deserve a break. Like it's push, 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 right? Yeah.
we're going to talk. We're going to work with the perfectionist tomorrow, as a matter of fact. So, that's part of that perfectionism coming up. But it's like, oh, I don't deserve a break. Okay, great. So
Yeah. And I think that's there. But the negative message is, it's never going to change. It's never going to work. So they're allies. They're teamed up against the self.
yeah. Okay,
Yep.
great. All right. So everyone take a breath. Again, Denise knows the tapping points that she uses the short form really well. So if you know tapping, love tapping, have particular points that you like, by all means tap with them. And I'm just going to use the heel of the hand for those of us that are new to tapping, because you'll get phenomenal release and transformation just by tapping this. It's amazing. And tapping really is working with different points in the acupressure meridians. The short form tends to hit most of them. And back. But I'm going to use this. So, and Denise is going to be our spokeswoman here. I realize there's a part of me.
I realize there's a part of me
that just doesn't want me to meet my commitments.
That just doesn't want me to meet my commitments.
Why bother?
Why bother?
There's a part of me.
There's a part of me
that just sings those negative mantras.
Oh, that just sings those negative mantras.
Poor me.
Poor me.
It's always going to be like this.
It's always going to be like this.
It's never going to be much different.
It's never going to be much different.
So why do you want to work so hard?
So why do I want to work so hard?
You never work hard enough anyway.
I never work hard enough anyway.
It's just never good enough.
Just never good enough.
I realize that that's a part of me.
I realize that that's a part of me.
It's a very strong part of me.
A very strong part of me.
A very seductive part of me.
A very seductive part of me.
But I realize there are other parts of me too.
But I realize there are other parts of me too.
That negative voice within me.
That negative voice within me.
That is so cynical.
That is so cynical.
So pessimistic.
So pessimistic.
So skeptical.
So skeptical.
That I could do anything.
That I could do anything.
That would make a difference at all.
That would make a difference at all.
Make a difference for me.
Make a difference for me.
Make a difference for somebody else.
Make a difference for somebody else.
Make a difference for my tribe.
Make a difference for my tribe.
God forbid, make a difference for the world.
God forbid, make a difference for the world.
I realize that's just a part of me.
I realize that's just a part of me.
And it seduced me into listening.
And it seduced me into listening.
Into believing that it's true.
Into believing that it's true.
And I recognize the fact.
And I recognize the fact.
That voice of negativity.
That voice of negativity.
Is simply trying to keep me safe.
Is simply trying to keep me safe.
Negativity believes.
Negativity believes.
If I play small.
If I play small.
If I stay out of harm's way.
If I stay out of harm's way.
If I stay out of the limelight.
If I stay out of the limelight.
If I don't speak my truth with love.
If I don't speak my truth with love.
I don't stand my sacred ground.
I don't stand my sacred ground.
I'll be a hell of a lot safer.
I'll be a hell of a lot safer.
And it knows just which buttons to push.
Oh, and it knows just which buttons to push.
To keep giving up on myself.
To keep giving up on myself.
To keep from completing my commitments.
To keep from completing my commitments.
That's a powerful part of me.
That's a powerful part of me.
And I also realize from my center.
And I also realize from my center.
Centered in my belly.
Centered in my belly.
Centered in my breath.
Centered in my breath.
Centered in my mind.
Centered in my mind.
As powerful as it seems sometimes.
As powerful as it seems sometimes.
Negativity is really only a small part of me.
Negativity is really only a small part of me.
It's just really skillful.
It's just really skillful.
Of hijacking the whole show.
Of hijacking the whole show.
And I realize from center.
And I realize from center.
I have so many other skills.
I have so many other skills.
So many other talents.
So many other talents.
So many other strengths.
So many other strengths.
So many other wonderful skills.
So many other skills.
That I can actually meet resistance.
That I can actually meet resistance.
And that I can start to skillfully work with resistance.
And that I can actually start to skillfully work with resistance.
That old part of me.
That old part of me.
That old part of playing it safe.
That old part of playing it safe.
That old part that denies my soul.
That old part that denies my soul,
my soul's purpose,
my soul's purpose,
my soul's destiny,
my soul's destiny,
my true self.
my true self.
And everyone just take a breath, shake that out, and just bring in those palms back to Hara. Recenter side to side, front to back, up and down. Just looking deep into yourself. And everybody, just from this place of center, after our first round of tapping, what do you sense? What do you notice? And Miss Denise, what do you sense? What do you notice?
I notice I'm back to being way more centered. I thought I was centered before, but now I'm even like more centered. And I had a little body shiver of energy movements. My breathing is very expansive down into the lower abdomen, and it feels so calm in the mind. And the awareness, the thinking awareness during that was, it's an old program, or it's an old voice. It's like, it's old. It's like, don't need it today.
Right. Great.
Yeah.
I'm noticing that there's a lot more space, and particularly in my chest and my torso and my whole body, from the pelvic bowl all the way up to my head, the top of my cranium. It feels like, there's a lot of space, there's energy moving. And for the last 2.5 days, I've been in a 3-day virtual event with my friends Ifreen and Iman Khan. They're the founders of Red Elephant. And they're really about how do you create a movement and have the impact. And I just fell in love with them when I first met them. And I'm on fire right now with, creating a community of mystics, badass mystics that are really ready to embody their true self, their soul purpose, and their soul destiny. Because the world needs us right now. The world needs a bunch of mystic badasses who are standing our sacred ground and speaking our truth with love. So, yeah. I'm listening. I'm reading Ty here. So it took me halfway through to even settle down. And absolutely, that's why the mystics have said for thousands of years, meditate really 22 minutes. It on average takes the average person 22 minutes to actually settle down, to come out of that beta brainwave thinking into an alpha brainwave thinking, or even deeper. So, Yana, hello, Yana. Howdy. Is it Yana? I say it could be Jana. So, hi, Jana, Yana. I feel much lighter, beautiful. So, Kelly, say more about outer edges for us. But now Ty says, now that I have settled down, it's like, now I feel hungry, and I hear the lawnmower and this curious, demanding cat. It's like all the things in the world that can distract you. And it's like, can I notice the lawnmower from my centered place? Can I notice, I'm hungry from my centered place? Can I notice my cat demanding some attention? Which is a great metaphor for the other parts of us. When negativity's been hijacking the show and standing in the spotlight and pulling so many strings, that means that other parts of us are starved for attention too, by the way. Kelly says, that felt amazing. When we first started, I didn't feel much, but soon felt. And the aching Oh, I see at the outer edges of the heart chakra, and with lots of yawning, everything now feels so expansive and relaxed. Beautiful. Yeah, beautiful. A lot of people talk about opening the heart. Oh, I want to open my heart. And what we forget is that, there's the spiritual, energetic opening the heart. There's the breath opening the heart, but then there's the bones and the muscles and the connective tissues of opening the heart. And that, we want to create more space in the ribs. We want to bring more elasticity to the connective tissues so that the ribs and the chest can actually expand and open more. So as the breath expands, so does our heart have more space to open. And Tracy, that's a real voice. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. With this tapping, speaking of the heart with Kelly, with this tapping, the sadness in my heart has lifted.
Yeah.
So we started with sadness, and it's like, oh, that's moved up and out.
Okay. So start, and I forgot to ask this, how would you have rated the sadness before?
About a 7. So now it just doesn't feel like it's there, or maybe it's a 1, but it's like that sensation is really, that sinking in the feeling's gone. Okay. So that was an 8 or a 9, and that's gone. Mm-hmm. And then that sadness of breaking my heart because I'm not taking action. It's like, okay, I'm not taking action. It's just gone, because now it's like, oh, that's an old voice. So it's like the guilt, it's not there. I don't have to feel negative about it. It's just like, I didn't do it yesterday. What can I do today?
Great. And so you talked about the sinking feeling in the belly, the sadness in the heart that's almost gone. And what about the mind, sort of the thinking and the stories in the mind?
Oh, the mind got so calm. Once it had that awareness of it's an old pattern, it's an old voice. It was like, it's an old voice. Yeah. It doesn't need to be a current voice. It doesn't need to be a voice that I keep today. It's an old voice.
Yeah.
So then it was like, and there's relief there. So the mind can just settle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Willa says, having tapped for me, more sadness. And that actually happens to me a lot, Willa. When I realize that my defensive, protective tendencies have been so entrenched, and that, I fall into them unconsciously, when I begin to bring them into consciousness and then I tap with them, it's like sometimes there's sadness that's been repressed, but oftentimes for me, it's the sort of the sadness for all the opportunities that I've missed in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And my friend Mark often says, when is the best time to plant a tree? Well, 20 years ago. But what's the second best time to plant a tree? Today. And it's like, I can feel that sadness. And Kelly used the term ache around her heart chakra. And I think that is like, that's that knowing, that deep spiritual knowing that I have delayed or denied my soul's purpose and my soul destiny. But now I am centered, and I'm developing the skill of being centered and being strong and being present. And I can also let that sadness move through me. And I can let all the emotions move through me. And I can let all the energies that have been trapped move through me. And I can let all the energies of what's happening in the moment move through me without contracting, without resisting. So beautiful, beautiful. All right, great. All right, so let's tap some more, everybody.
Yeah, because that just kicked up some weight on the back of my shoulders.
I realize how my body holds.
I realize how my body holds.
My story.
My story.
My life story.
My life story.
My body is my oldest friend.
My body is my oldest friend.
It's the one friend.
It's the one friend.
That's been with me my entire life.
That's been with me my entire life.
And it holds the record of my life.
And it holds the record of my life.
The way that I cock my head to one side.
The way that I cock my head to one side.
Or shift my hips to one side.
Or shift my hips to one side.
Or hold a shoulder slightly higher.
Or hold a shoulder slightly higher.
Or the way that I move a wrist in a signature way.
or the way that I move a wrist in a signature way.
My body is the reflection
My body is the reflection
of all of the choices,
of all of the choices,
conscious and unconscious,
conscious and unconscious,
of my entire life,
of my entire life,
of all of my desires,
of all of my desires,
all the longings of my soul,
all the longings of my soul,
and all of my defenses,
and all of my defenses,
all the ways I've resisted
all the ways I have resisted
my soul,
my soul,
my purpose,
my purpose,
and my destiny.
and my destiny.
I'm grateful for my body
I'm grateful for my body
because it shows me where my resistance lives
because it shows me where my resistance lives,
and the different sensations,
in the different sensations,
even the pain.
even the pain.
Thank you, body,
Thank you, body,
for mirroring my resistance.
for mirroring my resistance.
And thank you, body,
And thank you, body,
for reminding me what center senses
for reminding me what center senses,
and what relaxation senses
what relaxation senses,
and what openness senses,
and what openness senses,
what enlightenment senses,
what enlightenment senses.
what beyond the beyond senses,
Oh, what beyond the beyond senses,
what the still point senses,
what the still point senses,
and the center of the center,
the center of the center,
of what my soul feels like
of what my soul feels like,
having a bodily experience,
having a bodily experience,
of what my spirit senses,
of what my spirit senses,
having a human experience.
having a human experience.
And thank you, body,
And thank you, body,
for showing me where I resist,
for showing me where I resist,
the ecstatic joy of my soul,
the ecstatic joy of my soul,
the deep pleasure of knowing my purpose,
the deep pleasure of knowing my purpose,
and the thrill of knowing and living my destiny,
and the thrill of knowing and living my destiny,
breath by breath,
breath by breath,
moment by moment,
moment by moment,
conscious choice
conscious choice
by conscious choice.
by conscious choice.
So I choose to celebrate my resistance.
So I choose to celebrate my resistance.
It shows me the parts of me
It shows me the parts of me
that are still saying no,
that are still saying no,
that are still saying we're not ready yet
that are still saying we're not ready yet
to let go,
to let go,
to surrender to source,
to surrender to source,
to surrender to the soul.
to surrender to the soul.
So I choose to celebrate my resistance
So I choose to celebrate my resistance
so I can hold those parts of me
so I can hold those parts of me
that are not yet ready to open
that are not yet ready to open.
with fierce compassion,
I can hold them with fierce compassion,
gentleness,
gentleness,
kindness.
kindness.
I can surrender the shame,
I can surrender the shame,
the guilt,
the guilt,
the humiliation,
the humiliation,
the grief and the sadness,
the grief and the sadness,
the anger and the regret,
the anger, the regret,
and the resentment.
and the resentment.
I can surrender the fear,
I can surrender the fear,
the anxiety,
the anxiety,
the worry.
the worry.
I can let them all go now
I can let them all go now
as I choose to center.
as I choose to center.
I choose to stand my sacred ground.
I choose to stand my sacred ground.
I choose to be fully present.
I choose to be fully present.
My whole body,
My whole body,
my whole being.
my whole being.
Everyone take a breath. And again, just sitting straight. sitting still. Just recenter, side to side, front to back, up and down. Looking deep into yourself. And just, can you sense in your body some place that is holding or contracted in some way? And just with the most loving attention and intention, inviting that part just to let go a little bit, as much as it's willing to surrender in this moment, with this breath. Just sitting for a moment, sensing and noticing. And just letting any energy move in your awareness. Let any energy in your body unspool, unwind, open, and move with your breath. All right, so we're moving to the end of our time today. So again, if you're so choose, enter into the comments, what do you sense and notice after that second round of tapping? And Denise, what do you sense? What do you notice?
I sense and notice body shakes from where I'm sitting all the way. The energy's flowing up, and there was calm and stillness about my whole torso, up and up.
Mm-hmm.
Pure presence, just the energy's vibrating, but it's calm and still at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Peace. And the hint of positivity, the essence of positivity.
Yeah. Hope, excitement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Ty says her brain is much quieter and she's ready for the day now. Yeah.
Great.
Jana. I feel whole. Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, that second round was a lot more inspirational. So that felt really fun and good. Willa says more expansive, not as inclined to flop forwards. Yeah, a little voice, it might make a difference. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Kelly says, amazing. Before you even said it, my back and neck started shifting and unwinding, feeling much more focused and peaceful. Tracy says, yeah, my right shoulder is resisting to relax, the rest of the body relaxing. Great, wonderful to notice. Jenna says, very relaxed and energized again like yesterday, motivated to get up and go. Well, you go, girl. I noticed that, as I was sort of like, oh, is there a part in the body? There was sort of a body that was sort of a little bit sort of behind my heart on the left side, in the back towards the back of the ribs and then the back. And I just really was sort of focusing and letting it go. And then just after a couple of moments of just witnessing that and just giving it all the space just to be and to move, then what I noticed is like the whole low back on both sides just completely relaxed and dropped. So it wasn't even that part of my back behind my chest that relaxed, but it's like, oh, my whole low back sort of reseated itself. So awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you for joining us live here for Working with Resistance. And just a reminder that this work is really about reconciliation and harmony and alchemy. And it's the realizing that, I've used the terms resistance is cunning and baffling and, so strategic and keeping us small and keeping us safe. And resistance and negativity and cynicism and pessimism and why bother, they're all trying to be helpful in their own way. And so this is about loving them and appreciating and celebrating them and saying, you don't need to work so hard. You don't have to defend me in this way anymore. I have other parts that have got your back, that have got my back, that are doing their job, and they've got up-level skills. So it's bringing reconciliation to all the different parts within me and ultimately bringing them all into harmony so that they're working collaboratively and together towards my soul's purpose and towards my soul's destiny. And that's the great work. And then when I can show up, standing my sacred ground in harmony with myself, then I can start to work with the conflict in my family, the conflict in my tribe, the conflict in our world. And there is a tremendous amount of conflict. Jack Cornfield uses the term stop the war within. When I stop the tug of war between all of my inner parts, the war between my heart and my mind, my body, and I can come into harmony, then I can be what St. Francis said, let me be an instrument of thy peace. What Mother Teresa said, let me be a healing presence in the world. It's like that's when I can wake up to my true self. I can heal up all those parts of me that are in resistance, and then I can show up as my badass mystic self and be an instrument in the world to have a real impact in the world. So to me, and that's the alchemy. It's like, not only are all I'm more than the sum of my parts, but I'm that alchemical reaction that ignites stars. And I am my own brilliant soul shining through my body and my heart and my mind and my will and my spirit, and creating a community of like mystics who are dedicated to that and shining a light into the darkest places of the world. So that's what I believe that we're about. And thank you so much for taking this journey and meeting your resistance and working with your resistance and beginning to taste your true self, your soul's purpose, and your soul's destiny. So Denise, you just want to say anything as we say goodbye here?
I'm feeling so much better and positive. I wish we had done this before I worked on the website and blew it up this morning.
A note to self, meditate first, then website,
Absolutely. But thank you. This has been really great. And it shifted my energy. Like now I'm excited for the afternoon.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody, for your presence, your intention, your attention, and now maybe a little bit of no tension. All right. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.